Hey Max, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So we just started we started the lockdown over here 2 days ago. Today is the third or the second day of the 21 day lockdown. By the way, um, so the Prime Minister has imposed a 21-day lockdown. That means no movement. The economy will be on pause for 21 days. So far,
Right.
there have been some hiccups, but I think it'll be a smooth sail in the next coming days. So, Mags, you're in Beijing, and
hmm
tell me what life is like in Beijing right now.
so for us, it has been quite a long haul. This all started on right at the start of Chinese New Year. So I remember that my last day at the office was on January 22nd, and I haven't been back since. So it's been more than 2 months since we started this whole um, lockdown. Well, not quite lockdown because we still have been able to get out of our homes to do groceries, to meet with friends occasionally. But since this whole thing started,
And there's movement in the city. There are the shops are open.
yes, well, at the start of this epidemic, which was 2 months ago, there was a lot less movement. Obviously, the city was in shutdown mode pretty much, as was the rest of China. But I would say that maybe for the last couple of weeks or so, things have been slowly getting back to normal. A lot more shops, restaurants, a lot more things in general are open now. You also see a lot more people on the streets, more vehicles, public transportation. So, yeah, there are definitely a lot of signs that show that things are getting back to normal. I was reading just a couple of days ago that China was back with 85% of its economy operating again.
Yeah, I think I read that in the
Except
news
in
as well.
in Hubei province, which is where the epidemic started. But as to the rest of China, 85% of the economy is back on its feet.
In the entire China or in Beijing?
In mainland China, except the province of Hubei.
And how's Hubei doing right now? The province of Hubei.
Well, it's actually doing very well. You have to take into account that this is where the whole epidemic started, specifically in the city of Wuhan. And now they've made just tremendous progress in containing the virus, because the whole province went into lockdown, and that really helped curb the epidemic. So for the last couple of days, maybe for the past 5 or 6 days, there have been zero reported cases in Hubei, which is it's really a tremendous thing.
Mm. I think I spoke to you a couple of weeks ago. I think in the initial stages when I think Hubei province just went under lockdown, and I remember you said that there was absolutely no one in the streets of Beijing, so you couldn't go
Right.
out. And at that stage, what was functioning? But was Beijing at that stage under lockdown, or it was just the Hubei province, and it was just curfew in Beijing.
Uh-huh. So the only place that officially went into lockdown in China was the province of Hubei. Um, all public transportation wasn't allowed to go in and out of the province. People had to stay in their homes, but for the rest of China, everyone, or pretty much everyone, was staying in their homes, but not because there was an official lockdown, because it was just the best thing to do for the country. It was the way to curb this epidemic. So it was, I think, out of each person's own responsibility. I think that's really one of the things that's for me has stood out. How everyone in China has come together to combat this. Their show of solidarity. How seriously they have been adhering to all the measures. So this has this has been a huge blow on the economy, a huge blow on everyone's personal life. But yet people are adhering to what the authorities are recommending because they understand that it's for a bigger purpose.